League. This time coming at you at the 2 Mile Auto Club Speedway. We saw a really good race here this past Wednesday in the Martin Sports Truck Series. And now the Mach-1 Performance Cup Series is coming at you live. 125 laps. You're going to see stage break around lap 40. And, looking at the times, this is a really good race. It's going to be a really good race. And looking forward to it. Weather right now, track temp 65, air 73 rather, in the air 65, so colder temperatures kind of. Not as cold as what we saw yesterday in the real world, but still cold enough. Seeing a lot of cars with a lot of grip, a lot of speed, and with about 30 entries right now. Should be an awesome race here. But anyways, enough of me. My name is Jeremy Stanley, as always, and to my right-hand side, it's going to be my producer, aka co-host as well tonight, Mr. Dustin Loxton. How's it going over there tonight?
Going pretty well. Hopefully now everybody can hear me on the first try. Hopefully we got the first race jitters out of the way with me in the booth. So we'll see what happened with that. But I mean, California love all the way through. This track here's it's gonna suck seeing this whole setup go bye-bye and pave way for short tracks, but so is the name of the game. But I mean, this track here's got a lot of love, got a lot of hate at times too. Some people just struggle at it, but overall, this track in Michigan have always been near and dear to my heart. They've always been good tracks.
And it sucks to see it go too. It When you first pave the tracks, you're like, yeah, I don't know. But there's so many racing grooves and it's so bumpy and just there's so much character and everything that goes on during the race at this place is crazy. You don't see many options where you can go 5 lanes up and still run the same speed as the guy 5 lanes below plus the apron if they want to go that low. So much creativity the drivers can have, and to not see that anymore. I know NASCAR sold this place for $554 million for 80% of the area, so they have a 20% owned left. I don't know what they're going to do with it. There's nothing official out of that, but I hope the market in California stays the same. Hopefully they just build a short track. I would love to see that. But needless to say, we're going to keep it live, though, with the simulated world, because that is forever. We can't get rid of it. It's here to stay, and there's a big fan base for this track, Dustin. So, we're going to enjoy it now, and we're going to enjoy it for years to come on the iRacing platform.
Absolutely, and like you said, I mean, so many racing grooves on this. I mean, very few tracks on the circuit nowadays, and that's even pitting it against Daytona and Talladega. Can you go 4 and 5 lanes? And you will see drivers, it's just going to be a slew all the way through the corner. You're going to have a driver down low. The next driver behind them is going to try to get out of their wake, because if they're following a driver in the corner, it's just going to take that air off that front nose, tighten that car up, and that's not what these drivers want. So you're going to see these cars all over the place in the corner, literally 3, 4, 5 lanes all the way through.
And we saw in the truck race, we saw trucks early go up, about 3rd lane, maybe 4th lane. A lot of trucks stayed, 1st or 2nd lane. But then after about 20 laps or so into that race, a lot of trucks, probably say at least 10 of them at minimum, found their right-hand side tires up on the 5th groove. You can't go up too far up there because you start finding the marbles and whatnot, and you don't want to do that. But the speed's there. There's a little extra grip up top that's less used than the rest of the surface, and so people find it useful. It really helps the truck or the car in this case tonight. If you're running the bottom, you feel tight, you move up to the top, all of a sudden your car rotates a little more and you can get a little more speed off the exit. Vice versa, if your car is too loose, you on the top, you wanted to move down to the bottom to kind of try to tighten it up when you can, where you're not carrying so much speed in the corner. That's why it works so well here, Dustin.
Yeah, and I'm just wondering, Jeremy, that if we are going to see any of the issues that plague some of the drivers in the Truck Series. We've seen handling issues in the Truck Series as well. That's why you've seen them changing lanes a number of times. That wall come up and bit a couple of the drivers a number of times as well. And with the way that these next-gen cars, or current-gen, whatever you want to call them now, the way that they run, I mean, they don't have the suspension like what the trucks do. So it's a wonder how these cars are going to handle, the longer runs and the longer stints in this. But I mean, these drivers, if anybody can do it, it's the drivers in this Full Throttle Sim Racing league. It's a good group of guys down here. They know how to handle a car.
At least these cars are a lot less expensive than they are in the real world. I heard some of the splitters were literally cracking in half in one instance after that race yesterday. There was a splitter on the ground dragging because it was just so bumpy and rough. You don't got to worry about that here. These cars are a lot cheaper. So, um, we're going to see what they got tonight. Got about 30 cars out here. Going to be taking grid here momentarily as we start to kick off for qualifying here. We're going to ride on board with your practice winner, Fred Moreau, about 2/10 faster than the rest of the field. Let's see when he gets on track here, if he does at all.
And that's
Makes
no
no sense to you.
surprise. Not any surprise to see Fred Moreau up there as far as practice time either. Both him and Nick, both lightning fast up there. So I mean that's why we call him Rocket Man Moreau. I mean, what was it last season? He had what 9 poles. It was unbelievable. So I mean, they definitely know how to get it done.
Moreau Motorsports definitely has the fastest car when it comes to qualifying, hands down. We're actually going to turn our attention to Richie Coy, who is currently on track coming off of turn number 4, second fastest in practice, and currently also second place in the points, Dustin. First place right now, Nicholas Moreau, that being Fred's teammate. No surprise also to see the 15 P1 after 2 races, well, after 1 race really, as we're on race number, I get that right? Yeah, race number 2 here of the season. And I'm not expecting anything different. Fury Motorsports, they found something late last season. We heard it multiple times before our season ended back in December. And they've carried that momentum into Daytona. Of course, they went 1, 2, 3. We had a huge party with them in the nerd booth. And we're seeing right now Richie Coy still producing some awesome speed as he's coming to complete his first lap. See what kind of time he puts up. Looks like he's going to be sitting P2? No, P5 at the moment. It's a little bit slower speed here, but we'll see what happens on lap 2, Dustin.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, it's Fury Motorsports. They know how to get it done. They're bringing the speed, just like Moreau Motorsports. I mean, they both. I mean, both of these teams are powerhouse teams. They duked it out all last season, but it's Bergoli come in as well. I mean, it's just that's the great thing about this league is it's not just one team that's a powerhouse. I mean, it's such a deep roster that even the single car teams and the smaller teams have just as much of a chance to do it as we see the 44 Beck briefly took the top of the charts there. Richie Coy jumps up to P2 behind the 31 of Chandler. So again, that's exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, you have these drivers that can do it. Grossi sitting in the 4th position right now. It's a single car team. I mean, you can have snipers come from anywhere in this league.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. Seeing Wayne Grossi, you mentioned him. He's P4. He's actually 4th place in the overall points lead after coming out of Daytona. So he's only 10 points out to survive Daytona, being the top 4, being a part of his solo team. He was temporarily part of Gator Racing last season. That fell apart, so he's back to being by himself at Wayne Grossi Racing. And that 7 machine's showing some speed. Right now being P4, only 2/10 off of Jeff Chandler, one of the newcomers here in the Cup Series and at FTSR in general.
Look who took the top spot so far.
What'd you name him? Rocket Man Moreau?
Rocket Man Moreau.
Well, there he is at a .3. The first time we've seen that all week here from the FTSR group. I don't think anybody has anything to top that, Dustin.
It's going to be tough. I mean, that's flying around this track, but it was last season when Moreau Motorsports come in here, and they definitely amped up their qualifying packages all the way around. Come in with the full stable, and they amped up their race trim packages as well. So I mean, they definitely added another caliber there, and I feel that that team, as well as a number of other teams coming in, has really amped up the quality of driving in a lot of these other teams that. And not to a bad point, but I mean, Jeremy, this racing's ridiculous. I mean, like ridiculously good and close. It's hard racing all the way around.
Yeah, that's a perfect little segue to. I want to shout out this league, by the way, FTSR.net. If you guys want to be a part of this racing that you just described, and you've seen the Nerd booth, Nerd TV cover this for over a year now, we love this place here. They produce such awesome racing, very minimal cautions. It's well established, been around since 2006 through the NR 2003 platform. So if you're looking to find a new home, make this place the place to go to, FTSR.net. And then also tonight's sponsor, the continued sponsor for the Monday Night Cup Series being Mach-1 Performance. If you own a race car and Mach 1's in your area, make sure to bring them there. Check out what they have to offer to you and your team. You can head over to facebook.com/Mach-1 Performance. And I made that mistake, Dustin, by trying to go on board with Fred Moreau, knowing, or I should have known rather, this man hardly
Ever
qualifies. We've seen this
qualifies,
guy,
ever.
yeah, time in and time out. He likes coming from last to first. He gets enjoyment out of that.
I think he
And he's got the
does.
fastest car. He's going to start 29th, Dustin. What do you think his odds are in 125 laps here?
I'm thinking you're probably going to see that number 5 car up there. I give it 25 laps. You'll probably see that 5 car up in the top 10 easy.
A lot of lanes to make it happen. I'm sure he'll find a groove and his way up there, no doubt about it. But we're going to kick it over to the grid here as they got everything officially done with qualifying. Run down tonight's starting order. Nicholas Moreau is going to start P1. Jeff Chandler, newcomer, is going to start in second. Second row, we're going to find Stephen Lou Allen in third. Richie Coy, 2 is outside in fourth. Third row, fifth place, Chris Beck, and 2 is outside in sixth, Wayne Grossi. Seventh place, you'll find Ryan Chapman in eighth place, Brandon Elder. Ninth place, Matthew Vachon, and to round out the top 10, Brody Hanna. Who you got through 11th through 20, Dustin?
11th is going to be Jonathan Vachon. 12th is going to be Robert Melican. 13th is going to be Stephen Allen. 14th is going to be Ryan Hedrick. So that's that entry coming in there. Good qualifying effort. Josh Mayo is going to start inside the next row in 15th. And Josh Johnson will start to his outside in 16th. 17th is going to be Brian Dublé. 18th is going to be Chris Curtis in that number 98. Strong run last week at Daytona. 19th is going to be Brian Bliss. And rolling out in P20 is going to be Sherwood Williford.
21st, you're going to find David Courier. 22nd, Steve Loomis. 23rd, Troy Torgerson. 24th place, Timothy Stubblefield. We'll see if Stub Nation likes to cheer on his driver, or their driver, as he tries to go from 24th to 1st. 25th, Tony Solari. 26th place, Justin Diltz. 27th, Brian Hoskins. 28th, Ryan Hoover. 29th, Fred Moreau. 30th, James Wallace. 31st, Matt Knight. 32nd, Casey McMullen, and tonight's last car in the field, 33rd place, the 41 car of Alan Crowell.
Yeah, it's going to be a wild race tonight, Jeremy. Again, Auto Club always poses great racing. I think the only thing that's going to put a damper on the racing tonight could be the possibility of how these machines are going to handle on the long run. You know, these drivers have put in a lot of time, Jeremy, throughout the off-season. And from last week's Daytona race to this week, you know they put in the hours. Question is, are the cars going to be able to handle that and hold up to the challenge?
Well, the track being a little bit cooler, I expect to see what I saw in practice. I don't think I saw anyone spin out, at least on accident. So track is looking really racy, which in turn for you guys watching us here, should be a great one to watch with you. We're going to wait for this pace car to dip down the 15, Nicholas Moreau. A very comfortable place. This is where a lot of people like to start their season. And we're going to see the 15 start P1 here. That green flag was out super early, but officially the green flag's out, and now he's throwing it. 15, Nicholas Moreau gets a good start with his outside contender here, Mr. Jeff Chandler. Richie Coy up on his bumper there as well as they head off into turn number 1, Dustin.
Yeah, these front 4 right now, you can throw a blanket over them, but it's going to be like this as you see that 7 of Wayne Grossi right now trying to poke his nose on the inside already. But, Jeremy, we had talked about that. This is exactly what this track poses as far as racing. You're going to see these cars side by side, and you're going to see battles all day long that last for laps on end.
You already see him going through turns 3 and 4 here. We see 3 to 4 lanes already being used, the 4th lane on down. No one's out to the 5th lane yet because there's not enough speed there yet. You're going to wait for that tire wear to kick in before anything up there starts to happen. As they come across the line, Jeff Chandler barely takes it by 26 one-thousandths of a second over that 15. Outside currently looking like the place to be.
Yeah, right now, I mean, the thing with Chandler is he can hold that speed going up, and he's throttling the 15 of Moreau right now. So Moreau has to, to prevent from causing contact, has to play with that throttle a little bit more than what the 31 of Chandler has to. So you see Moreau gets a better entry in the corner, but you're going to see the 31 of Chandler get that amazing exit and that run speed off, and that's how he's beating him to the line, Jeremy.
Yeah, turn 4 seems to have a lot of speed. Turn 2 does too, but It all depends on how your setup rolls that top side of the track. I know turn 2 kind of cuts off a little sooner. So if you can get that car to rotate in the middle of 1 and 2, it gives you a great launch. So we're going to see it happen here. If the 15 doesn't actually cut in front, wants to do it, cannot close it up. Side draft for the 31, going to head down into turn number 3, almost completely passing the 15 that time around. As everybody else behind him kind of really single fouls out for the most part. Richie Coy, we're on board with him in the 19, the Walt Ford Mustang. Getting a great view of this run here between the first and second place. 15, Nicholas Moreau leads him to the line as he does clear the 31 of Jeff, entering lap number 3.
Yeah, and this is exactly what the type of racing you're going to see. I mean, it's going to take drivers a couple laps to complete a pass just because of the runs that you can get and you can manifest off of these corners. It doesn't matter if you're low, you're high. You see the 31 of Chandler right now going from the onboard of Richie Coy, starting to look low where he was running high the previous laps before, so he's already testing out new lines as well.
You got over 100 laps to figure it out, so if you didn't find out anything in practice, this is the time to do it, is early on in this event. And it kind of showed its face a little bit there on Wednesday. This track, the corners are so flat, Dustin, in comparison to most other 1.5 or 2 mile high bank tracks. You need air on your nose to create downforce and to rotate the corner. And these are large sweeping corners. So if you don't get your nose in clean air, you're not going to rotate as well. And there's so many lanes to choose from. You don't want to run behind the guy. So right now is a great time to go maybe 1 lane up, 1 lane down, try to figure out where your car handles best. And then if that case or that time frame opens up for you later in this race, move that car a little bit to the side of your opponent, and it should help your car rotate. And we probably see that strategy later on this evening.
Yeah, and you're going to see that stagger effect going through the corners. I mean, one's going to stagger low, one's going to be in the middle, one high, and it's going to be a stagger effect all the way through because they're trying to get the most turn on that car going through the corner. Like you said, wide sweeping corners. So there's a lot that these drivers can do. There's a lot of play that they can do. And we're only getting started. There's 125 laps right now with this track, Jeremy. We're only working lap 6. And I will say, Jeremy, that the chats are already firing up. We have Jessica Stubblefield out there. Stub Nation, loud and proud. Coaster fan Leo is out there as well, also agrees. So again, thank you guys. Light up those chats. You know we love bringing you guys in here and talking and making you guys part of this broadcast permanently.
Yeah, 100%. Love to do that as this race progresses. We're already seeing about 2 packs here, about 50, take it back to about 20. You see a little bit of a separation in the field. And a pretty good battle going on in this little group of cars. You see that gap right there off the back of the O2 of Mayu, just how much separation there is between the 2 groups. But this is early on. We've seen a lot of drivers. I do it myself intentionally too, is I will drop back 6-7 seconds off the race lead. They use the tires up, and this track is so bumpy. If you go over your limit, you lose your tire real quick. So you let them do their thing. You come back in about 20 laps or so, 25 laps, and then you're back up there racing for the lead. So take care of your stuff. It'll take care of you in the long run, especially at FTSR. You don't have many of those cautions, so it usually plays out in your favor.
Yeah, and like you said, Jeremy, I mean, tires are going to be primo. And this track here is one that can be rough on the tires. It really can, especially with running that higher lane. You know as well as I do that iRacing's algorithm, so to speak, is set up based on speed as far as what calculates tire wear. If you run that high line, you typically run at a higher rate of speed, which means you could possibly wear those tires down a little bit faster than what you would anywhere else. So all this stuff, trust me, those drivers, they're playing it around. They're playing strategy in the back of their mind as we speak right now.
Something that we're not seeing that we saw a lot of in the truck race is a lot of trucks from the back half of the field moving up to the front, and all the cars in the front are moved to the back. I know we're only coming up to lap 10, but still the top 5 has really been where they started the whole time. Highest mover so far looks to be maybe Jonathan Vachon there, currently in 6th place, started 11th. He's already up 5 positions.
James Wallace is actually up 9 right now. He's sitting 21st.
Yeah, he's up 9. We see Troy Torgerson started 23rd. He's now in 16th, moving up pretty quick. Fred Moreau, the one I mentioned earlier, 29th to 22nd. He's already gained 7 spots, so he's already starting to make his way up forward.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, we still got time. I called lap 25. He'd break the top 10. We still got 15 laps left, and he's about ready to crack the top 20. So halfway to that mark there. He's got plenty of time. We know how he works. But like you said, the battling has been up in that top 5 right now. Chandler in that 31 has not left the rear bumper of Nicholas Moreau in that 15. This whole time since Moreau fully completed that pass, this 31's been all over that back bumper, Jeremy.
And this is a new face. We did not see him last week in Daytona, so we have no idea what this guy is about here at Full Throttle Sim Racing. Right now, running the race he is, if he can continue this momentum around this track for 125 laps, might be some guy to watch out for. Could be another new contender that, the Murrow Motorsports and Fury Motorsports and all of them have to go, okay, this guy might be worth something. I have to watch out for him. But right now, doing an excellent job keeping up with the 15 of Moreau. If we don't count up those two cars right behind him, Richie Coy and Stephen Llewellyn, they're currently side by side battling for third and fourth place, running 4 different lane variations here, bottom, top. You see the 7 of Wayne Grossi, he's coming up, trying to keep his 5th place right now over that 97 machine of the other Jonathan Vachon, as he goes to the inside here of Wayne Grossi, trying to get the job done. Mind yourself, Wayne Grossi still, he's the only driver on his team versus Vachon in his Murrow Motorsport car with 4 drivers. So 1 versus 4, this next-gen car playing good ends for the single-car teams.
Yeah, it is, as you've seen, as they come off of turn 4 there, that Jonathan Vachon kind of had a little bit of a slip up. Both Vachon and Grossi had to check up the track a little bit as the racing's getting pretty heavy right there. But Grossi not giving it up, as you can see further back right now. As we take a little bit of a drone camera fly through here, you can see those drivers. They are stacking it up, trying to get through. But right now, Grossi moving back down to the bottom of the track. And he has the other the other Moreau Motorsport driver back there, that 26 right now, trying to reel everybody in.
I'm just trying to figure out how you got a drone to go 190 miles an hour. That's pretty impressive stuff over there. Shout out
It's
to
a
you.
really fast drone, man. We hyperspeed everything. We're nerds. We can do things like that.
I guess if you can, make aerodynamics work in your favor for something that weighs 20 pounds to go 200 miles an hour, you got a machine there. Great camera work too. But you see the 24 here now owns 3rd place. Still one of the few cars early on to run up in that 4th groove.
Solidly in that 4th groove too.
He's been progressively getting better, and at some points he looked like he was a top 5 contender in this league, and right now ran a strong race in Daytona coming into California, running 3rd place at the moment, not letting things up 15 laps in. I would keep her eye on this 24 as a good contender for the points battle in 2023A.
Yeah, and you can see now that the 31 of Chandler sees exactly how fast the 24 Stephen Llewellyn is. And he himself, through the last set of corners, through 1 and 2, even jumped up to that 4th lane, Jeremy.
Yep, things are starting to space out. Going back to the chats, we got Holly Andrews saying, "Go Moreau, you can make it." And then also Robert Curtis rooting on Chris Curtis. So we got more than just Stub Nation in the chats this time. I love the little competition here. We'll see if one of your drivers can make this happen for you guys tonight. But top 5 running pretty clean, pretty stationary, other than the 24 putting on some pressure on these guys now is the 31. Jeff Chandler starting to move up to the top 3rd groove, maybe 4th groove, trying to find a little difference on this 15. He's going to temporarily duck his nose to the bottom. Says, nope, I'm going to try to go through 3 and 4. Back to the top side. So, Dustin, I think this middle groove is starting to be, starting to be a little bit faster than it was just a couple laps prior.
Yeah, and this is when you're going to start seeing a lot of variations in the racing lines. You're going to see drivers really start getting tricky with it, and this is when the racing is going to pick up. Now, mind you, we still have a competition caution. We still have that stage break, so to speak, coming up. But don't tell these drivers that. I mean, it's that second pack back being led by the 19 of Richie Coy right now, so that battle for 4th through about 7th. Is heating up as well. I mean, these drivers here are all right next to each other. And watch when they go through those corners, Jeremy. I mean, they just fan out. I mean, all of them completely fan out. They're all running different lanes. This is when it's going to start getting real interesting.
And this is where I start to really love watching California racing at Fontana specifically, where you just get so many different variations in this race. I love it so much. That's why we were sad to see this track go. But that stage break, you will see it on lap 40 again. If you're used to watching FTSR broadcast here at Nerd TV, last season we did not have any stage breaks. It was just green to checkered. Whatever happened in the middle, what happened was up to the drivers. This time we're going semi-current with what NASCAR does with one stage break. It's a shorter race, so you don't need 3 breaks, right? So we're just going to do 1 break at lap 40, and then when they restart around lap 45, they'll go all the way to lap 125, which will end tonight's race. Of course, 3 green-white checkered attempts. That's always the thing here at FTSR. So we saw it in use last week. We might have to see it again tonight. Who knows? But look at that 31, Dustin. Trying to clear the 15. He's back to the door panel here. It's on the 24 to come really close. 97, Jonathan Vachon with his teammate right behind him, Matthew Vachon, bringing out a lot of people into this mixture for the race lead.
Yeah, I tell you what, that 31 and the 24, Stephen Lou Allen right now are ripping that lip up on that top side. And the 15 of Moreau just cannot compete with that speed and run off, as now he is at risk of losing second, and he does, to the 24 Stephen Lou Allen. Mark Stephen Lou Allen up to second place right now. You see that battle back by the 15, but it's just not going to be enough, as now Nicholas Moreau is trying his luck up on that high side to see what he can do. Jeremy, this is where it's going to get interesting, because in previous seasons, that 15 typically did not run well on that high side. His setups were more geared towards that mid to low lane, and that's where he made a lot of his passes. And he was so deadly at his finishes. But it looks like they amped it up, because he's closing in on that run right now. 24 is Stephen Lou Allen under attack.
24 is strong, and he's also a single team car on this field, Tifosi Racing. One driver, one car on this team, has to do all the legwork himself. He might have somebody in the background helping him, but for the time being, we only know it's Stephen Lou Allen. Maybe we'll get to chat with him later tonight, see how he prepares for these races. But 2 for 2 right now is showing a really strong run. We're on lap 21 of that scheduled 125, so we're almost at the 100 to go mark. The 15, Nicholas Moreau, is not letting him go as he dips down, gets a great run off of turn 3 middle to turn 4. And that worked out great for him, Dustin. He had a little extra rotation, got through 4 without having to lift much. And he's going to turn 1 here. But this is where he lost the race lead to the 31. He goes to the bottom. We're going to keep on board with the 24 as we go through 1 and 2. 15 with an excellent run here. So all of a sudden, Dustin, this 15 quickly found a new set of a new life here to try to go back for the race lead.
Yeah, now something I noticed the 15 do as we were on board with the 24, Stephen Lou Allen, was going into turn 3 on that last lap to set that pass up. As there goes Vachon in the 26, has to big check up there to prevent from door slamming Nicholas Moreau, his teammate. So big check up there on that run, but that could have been catastrophe in the making, but was not. But what I was saying was going into turn 3, I seen the 15 kind of give a little bump draft to the 24, kind of propelling him a little harder into the corner than maybe expected, which could have helped the 15 and Nicholas Moreau set that pass up, Jeremy.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Draft is a factor here. There's a lot of drag in these next-gen cars, so bumping people is effective. It will work. It's a miniature super speedway. If the corners were more banked, this place would be a restrictor plate, no doubt about it. Ooh, the 24 gets a little messed up there off the 4. You're going to see the Matthew Vachon at 26 cut down low. Going to try to clear the 24. Cannot do it. Let's see if the 24 can now hold his own here on the 26, who lost this position to the 15 a lap prior. Does not look like he'll hold it. So the 24 might have overdone the tires a little bit here. Oh, the 31 gets bad checked up there off of turn 2. It's going to allow the 24 to re-attack the 26. Still going side by side. The 24 gets a little loose off the bumps down the straightaway. One of the only tracks probably you'll see where you get loose going down the straight, because the bumps are so strong entering turn 3.
Oh, so strong, and these things with their suspension, if you want to call it that, They do not like the bumps, but yeah, that was a huge checkup by the 31 at Chandler that cost him. He was up there battling for the lead. Into the wall is the 31 as he's scraping. 31 is in some serious trouble, Jeremy. That car not handling to the likeness of Chandler right now, as we've seen him fall all the way back to 5th, and now he just wall scraped going through turns 1 and 2.
Not good here. We just appraised him of doing so well so early on, but now his car is not feeling it. It is tight, and when you get into the wall, you lose some of that aerodynamic ability with the downforce in the corner. So in return, it just makes your car a little bit tighter, a little bit tighter. He's got a big group or a big space behind him, 1.5 seconds where you find the number 7 Wayne Grossi compared to the 31. So at least he's got a little bit of comfort area to kind of recoup, maybe figure out something a little different around these corners. But the 31 is just running so tight.
Hey,
And if he goes to the bottom, he's going to run even tighter.
Hey, Jeremy. It's lap 26, and look who's making a pass on that number 7.
Would it be that guy that's made up 19 positions there in that number 5, would it?
Oh, yeah, 23 positions. Yes, it would be. So again, almost right on key. He was in the top 10 prior to lap 25. So Fred being Fred, Jeremy. Fred being Fred.
I think you called that one. We talked about it, and you said that he would only take about 20-some laps. Well, count him one position out of the top 5. Crazy amount of spots here by Fred. And as we said, this is very typical of him, as he just blows the doors off the 24. His 24, I think he had a check up huge there on the corner exit. It's going to allow Wayne Grossi to get around him, and also Troy Turgeson, who, just like Fred, started in the back, 23rd. Troy's now found himself in 7th place. Awesome run by this guy. He had also great running too at Daytona, Mr. Troy. Also another new face here at FTSR. So as this race progresses, Dustin, we're getting a lot of new people to talk about here. They're 3 wide right now. You see him on camera with 7, the 24, and Troy there in the 39, who's running the bottom. Kind of spaced out 2 wide now. 7 lost both of those spots. Let's see if this 39 can do it around the 24.
Yeah, like you said, Torgerson up 16 positions, Fred Moreau up 24. And Jeremy, these guys just rode. They just slowly picked him off, made their way up. And some of the drivers that we've seen that were dominating early on, being Stephen Lou Allen and Chandler, who were running up on that fourth lane up there. Maybe they heated their stuff up and wore their stuff down just a little faster than expected, because both of those drivers seem like they're struggling a little bit here in the later stages here as we're working close to lap 30.
Yeah, we got 12 laps left before we see that stage break. I'm not sure how the fuel strategy and the tires are holding up. For a lot of drivers, it's not good. If your name's Fred, your tires are perfect. As we're on board now with Mr. Torgeson, who's also a 2-car team with his brother, or with his teammate Chandler, Jeff Chandler at Jeff Chandler Racing, the 39 and the 31. So these guys both inside the top 10 for their first non-restrictor plate race of the season with FTSR. Holding up pretty strong here, so keep your eye out on them as this race progresses again. But yeah, Fred Moreau does crack the top 5 now. Currently holds 5th place. He's got his eyes set on that 31 of Jeff Chandler, who has kind of fallen back from that big pack, or the main pack dust in the top 3. He's about a second and a half back from those guys, so he continues to fall back.
Yeah, and like I was saying, Jeremy, I'm just wondering if maybe these some of these drivers just ran it a little too hard early on, and maybe it cost them a little bit more. We'd seen the 31 wall slide it through turns 1 and 2 about 8 laps ago, and we seen the 24 was falling back as well. So Stephen Lou Allen has fallen back to 6th place. He was up there in 2nd. So I'm just wondering if maybe they pushed it just a little bit too hard, but I guarantee you, Jeremy, that once they come in after this stage break, they get fresh tires, you might see some strategies kind of change up a little bit. As you see right now, Chandler under attack and side by side right now with the 5 of Moreau as they're battling and duking it down the backstretch into turn 3. Side by side, Chandler in that 4th lane. You see Moreau down on that inside. Looks like Moreau was going to be able to complete that pass coming out of 4.
With 3 car lengths of distance on him, 2 on the exit. That car is just rotating so well on the bottom of the track. No tightness issue right now for Fred. I don't know how he does it, Dustin, starting so far back. you see the guys like the 24 just falling back so hard, and Fred's charging through the field, so he's carrying his speed every single lap, and he's not losing that momentum at the same time. He's on a different strategy with his teammates. He never runs the same one, but at the end of the day, it pays off. This guy is so fast, and if
And
he can run
Jeremy,
with us all season long, also a good contender.
and Jeremy, with all the action going on around the track, we hadn't made mention that look at your top 4 runners right now. All Moreau Motorsports drivers. All of them. You got Nicholas Moreau, Fred Moreau, and both of the Vachons up there first through fourth.
It's almost not a surprise. We saw quite a few times last season, or yeah, at least last season, where they would do this. They have a track or two where they excel greatly at, and obviously right now California seems to be one of those tracks, as these guys have a 2-second advantage, or a second and a half over Jeff Chandler, who's now in 5th place. But
His
this
teammate
is
behind him as well. So Jeff Chandler Racing right now has both of their teammates neck to neck.
So teamwork in play here. See the 39 actually get a little, I don't know if that was loose or just trying to avoid the wall, but he got a little messed up there off the corner. And caution is out for the first time, presented by Roasted Gems Coffee. We're so focused on the front, I don't know if we saw anything happen in the back. We're going to try to cycle through and find that incident for you. It's not stage break. We're 7 laps away from that. So I'm not sure exactly what happened on the field.
It looks like it might have involved, the 3 of Bliss. There was a little bit of a lag delay on that one, so his car's going to disappear. But going down the backstretch here, car's bouncing away. Just, hard hit into the back of Brian Dublé on that one. And that cost him there. It looks like it was just misjudged the throttle lift point on that going in, and Dublé just did absolutely nothing wrong. Just looked like it caught Brian Bliss off guard.
Yeah, I'm looking at the telemetry, Dustin, and the 3 never lifted before he got to the back bumper. They were well into the corner, and he was still full throttle 190 when the 37 was clearly lifting for the corner at 177, so about a 13-mile-an-hour swing when the contact was made. So I don't know if there was a mechanical failure on the 3 part, or if we missed something that happened previous in the race to warrant that. I don't think that would have been the case, but just drove it straight in the corner and didn't affect the 37, only affected the 3. Huge wreck as he pounded the outside turn 3 wall. And Brian Bliss is currently dropped out due to a packet loss, internet connection. So looks like the 3's day is about done.
Yeah, as we're going to go on board right now and try to take a look and see. I mean, going down that backstretch, Jeremy, like you were talking, there was just no lift on that one. I mean, you could hear it in the motor and everything else. I mean, it just, I don't know. Could be possibly, like you said, a mechanical issue. It does happen in the simulated world. It does happen. Not the first time that we would have seen something like that happen. So, unfortunate event for the number 3 of Brian Bliss. We know that he's been fighting some ill luck as of last season, trying to get a handle of these next-gen cars, like many of us are, myself included. I struggle with these cars as well, and it just looks like that struggle is still real so far this season here, coming into Auto Club.
Does look like it. While these cars are exiting pit road, we're going to take it to a quick picture-in-picture commercial break. We'll be back with you guys for the drop of the green flag. And welcome back to full screen coverage here of the FTSR race here at Auto Club Speedway. And they're going to restart this race on lap 38. So we're going to have 3 laps of green-white checkered essentially before the stage break happens. A little short stint. The 24, I think he elected to take 2 tires. He's currently P1 all of a sudden after he fell back multiple spots there. Josh Mayu with him as well. Lane Allen there taking 2 tires. Tony Solari, 2 if any. So since it's a really short stint, as soon as the green flag drops, which you see the pace car drop now, we're probably going to see them fall back. But it kind of helps them out here. Also looking back to that prior caution, which the green flag flies now, we saw the 3 and the 37 make a couple contacts in turn 1 a few laps prior. Could have maybe sparked that wreck. Either way. Green flag is out. The 24th, an excellent start here. Dustin, really curious to see how he goes to turn 1 and 2 with lesser tires and some of these guys behind him.
Yeah, as you see right now, the 15 of Nicholas Moreau just slicing right through the center with Wayne Grossi just pushing him. I mean, look at this gaggle, Jeremy, as they come off of turn 2. I mean, this camera angle here just shows the chaos going on. Fresh tires, 4 tires, 2 tires. I mean, we got tires all the way around, and these drivers are just trying to make it to that stage break.
Look at that 3 or 4 wide right here. 4 wide and 3 and 4 about 15th or so. 4 wide here on camera here with the 17, the 11. Looks like the 97's coming into for some action. The 71.
Oh, man.
Still 4 wide as inner 1, Dustin.
Oh, this is crazy. I mean, and this is one of those tracks, Jeremy. This track is wide enough for it. You can go, obviously, 4 wide and still have plenty of room. That's why this track, I'm sad to see it go, because it does pose the great racing like we're seeing right now, where they can hold 3, 4, and Jeremy, even sometimes if the situation calls for it, 5 wide down on that apron, possibly going for the win. This track can handle it.
We're coming up to 1 lap to go before a stage break. The 24 falls from first place all the way back to 6th. Nicholas Moreau charges through and takes back what was his once before anyways, which is the race lead. The 57, Joshua Johnson, now in 2nd place alongside the 7 of Wayne Grossi. 57 using that shortstop advantage to put himself in a great spot here for this next caution, which will happen here in a half a lap. The 97, Mr. Jonathan Vachon, right on his tail entering turn 3. They all go to the bottom for protection. The 7 got blocked a little bit. Looked like he was going to make a good charge, but it's not going to be enough. Stage winner, 10 points going to Nicholas Moreau in that 15 as he crosses the line right now. And the caution should be flying any second.
3 wide coming across the line for 2nd place between Josh Johnson and both of the Vachons. Oh, my goodness, Jeremy.
Great race. That was excellent. I expected something of that nature, but this track allows for it. 3 or 4 wide all the way through the pack. People trying to, make passes happen where they can. A lot of people shifted positions that time, and now, we're a third of the way through the race. They still have 4 sets of tires waiting for them in pit road. So with what we saw in the first 40 laps, I don't think we're going to see many cautions. So come in, take your 4 fresh set of tires, have that long run set up for you. And this is probably what everyone's going to be doing.
Yeah, and some of those pit strategies, Jeremy, looks like they might have paid off right now. I mean, we see that Josh Johnson's up there. Wayne Grossi's up there. What about Mr. Wallace is up there as well. James Wallace up there. So a little pit strategy now. Put him solidly in the top 10. Ryan Hedrick up there as well. Richie Coy. And we can't forget Knight in the 52. I mean, Jeremy, these are all drivers that, they elected to do a little wheeling and dealing, a little pit strategy that put them in position right now. That track position is very key here. You've seen that gaggle of cars that were there, just like all the viewers did. Track position is going to be primo when it comes towards the later stages of this race.
Curious to know how the 67, the 57, how they're going to do. They had the car that was about mid-pack that first run. Now they got themselves in a great position. Can they hold it? That's now key. As this track, as we've seen, like the 24 having a really strong early run and falls back a lot. As we're checking for pit road. Well, people stayed out, Dustin. The 15, Nicholas Moreau, he stays out. The 97, his teammate, Jonathan Vachon, they stay out. So about what, 5 cars stay out, 6, 7 cars, and then the rest have pitted. I'm curious. This track eats up tires so bad. Why not pit with the rest of the group? It's a bold strategy. I don't know if that's going to pay off for the 15.
That's a bold strategy indeed, Cotton. Bold strategy indeed. I mean, you see Moreau Motorsports, they all stay out. But Jeremy, I'm digging this strategy. I mean, these tires, I mean, this track does chew the tires up, but these drivers have very few laps on these tires since that last caution. I mean, you barely have worn the stickers off them at this point in time, so they're electing to stay out there. But like you said, at this point in time, knowing that everybody else was going to pit, there really wasn't anything to lose. You were more than likely going to come out pretty darn close to the position you entered the pits in, as long as you didn't botch your pit entry or pit exit or get nailed for a pit, unsafe pit entry or speeding violation. So it's a bold strategy indeed, Jeremy.
Yeah, it really is. But now this is going to leave us entertained and the viewers out there watching right now. Will the 15 hold his own? Will the 97 hold his own? Moreau Motorsports essentially 1, 2, 3, 4 again. They all 4 stayed out, so they're on their own team strategy. It's going to bring up a couple other guys like Chris Curtis. We have someone in the chat's been cheering him on, Mr. Robert Curtis. Before the first caution, he was saying he was moving on up. He had moved 5 spots before the caution had flown.
And not to the east side.
Chris Curtis, P6.
That's right. Moving on up and not to the east side. Moving on up to the top 5, rather. So definitely a good run here. Definitely using that pit strategy. Like I said, I mean, as long as their car is controllable, I mean, this could pay out, Jeremy. This could be a big money a money tie-in right here as far as win, and we're talking virtual money, not real money. But this could make or break it for sure.
Technically, with this new system that Full Throttle Sim Racing uses from Sim Racing Points, they have this charter system, and the team owners actually pay out real cash. They pay $5 a charter to the software. It gives them a car, and they sign a driver, and it's up to the team owner to pay out that $5 throughout the season, from 1% up to 100%. So, not much money, but technically there is some money involved. But
all right, technically you're right. All right, I'll give you that one, Jeremy.
Not much, but it's something, right? Just to say, hey, I got some money in this race. It's a little more important to me.
I don't know, Jeremy. Like I said, the way this is going to pan out, I mean, lights are off on the pace car. We are going to go back racing again as we cross the line to begin lap 45. Moreau Motorsports 1, 2, 3, 4. Chris Curtis back there in that 5th position. Brody Hanna in that 6th position. First time we've called his name all night, Jeremy. So pull those belts tight one more time, because this racing's about to get down and crazy.
Brody came out from Daytona P1, with the virtue of that late caution into the stage break. Found himself in an excellent position in 6th place on this restart. On Wednesday, if you watched with us, the 23 got taken out by a loose truck. Nothing of the 23's fault, but just ended up finding himself in the wrong place at the wrong time. Now with himself back in 6th place, really it's the first time in the top 10 really for that Fury Motorsports machine. Can he hold it on? Can he get his momentum that he did have in that truck race and carry it through tonight's race through the second and final stage?
And that's a question that everybody's asking, and probably Brody and the rest of Fury Motorsports as well. We see Fury Motorsports is spread out. Brody Hanna right now flirting with the top 5, going side by side with the 7 of Grassi. You go all the way back, though. Tony Solari running 19th right now, and Richie Coy running P26, down 22 positions from his starting spot. So right now, California loving is not loving Fury Motorsports right now, with the exception of Brody Hanna, who's in the top 5.
Which is crazy to think, because that 19 rather, was one of the fastest cars in practice, had one of the fastest times in qualifying, starting in 4th place. Really odd to see this 19 right now in 26th place. He fallen back because of that late caution, and then with the stage break and how everything panned out. He's got a lot of work to do, but we have seen this once before with Fred Moreau. He went from, 29th to 5th before that caution. So it's doable to get back up there, but right now the 19 doesn't have that speed as he's kind of struggling to get around some of these other guys around him right now.
Yeah, and he's getting bottlenecked. I mean, he's sitting back there in 24th, moving up from where he started, picking up a couple positions. But like you said, Jeremy, right now bottlenecked up, can't find the right line. We had talked about earlier in the race that the closer you follow behind these cars, the less rotation you're going to have on these. So when he tries to pull up on them, if they are running the same line that he's running, it starts really affecting the way that a driver can actually maneuver that car. The thing that he has on his side, though, is Jeremy, we got plenty of laps to go. He's got plenty of time to work his way forward. We're only working lap 48 of 125 right now.
And he got a really strong run, too, off the exit of 4. It enabled him to pass the 2 cars, 3 spots that run. So finally, we're starting to see that momentum shift for the 19s. He's getting around the 22 now. Robert Milliken, if I pronounce your name correctly there. So he gets around him through 3, tries to squeeze up and just can't complete it. Almost made some contact from my end there, but cleared temporarily as he goes back behind the 22. Moving up, back up to the front a little bit. Brody Hanna under attack from the number 7 of Wayne Grossi. This is for 5th place. 7 running the bottom, gets a great launch off the corner exit. I think he's going to get this spot here, but the 23 has the preferred draft here going down the backstretch as the 4 cars in front of him have that single file speed, and it does clear the 7. Really racy stuff here in this top 4. These teammates, even though they're teammates, Dustin, they're not giving it up.
No, and I mean, you look all the way around. I mean, Brody Hanna has got close and, tough racing in front of him. All these teammates are giving it, and he's putting his nose into it as he's going on the inside of Vachon in the 26 right now. He's got racing behind him. I mean, you got the 7 of Grossi, the 44 of Beck going side by side. Beck running very well tonight as well. I mean, all these drivers, is so close-knit racing right now. Looks like you got the 47 back there behind the 7 of Grossi as well, of Ryan Hedrick, and his teammate James Wallace as well. So, Jeremy, there's racing all the way around. You cannot slip up at this point in time.
You really can't. Now, kind of last time off of turn number 4, we did see the 98 of Chris Curtis slightly tag the exit of turn 4. Shifting them back a few spots. Currently, Chris Curtis sits in 10th place, actually 11th at the line that time around, to give about 4 or 5 spots for that 98 machine. But going back up, to the 44, the 7, the 47 here. Hedrick, fastest we've seen him all night here on lap 51. Currently finds himself inside the top 10. New colors for that car, same paint scheme, just a different color. And he had such a good opening season early on in 2022, and then he kind of fell back a little bit. He's really tight here with the 67. His teammate makes some contact with him in the 23, trying to avoid the 23 on the high side. Thankfully, did not wreck any one of those drivers. That was really close there.
Yeah, that looked like the 23 of Brody Hanna just got a tick loose coming off that corner, had to chase the car up. And with all these drivers being so close, there's very little room to try to correct, to check up, to allow people to gather it back up. So amazing heads-up driving by the 47, the 98, 57, and the 67, not to cause a bigger incident. Good job on, Brody Hanna's part, too, for keeping that car underneath him, because that could have been way worse. But back up front, these drivers still going at it right now. Jonathan Vachon trying to get that run on that high side. Right now, that lane being blocked by his teammate, Nicholas Moreau, and team owner. You see Moreau take a hard dive from the top lane on that 5th lane all the way down to the 1st lane and runs through, leaving that top lane wide open. Right now, side by side, is that of Fred Moreau and Jonathan Vachon. So, again, hard racing right now between these 4 teammates, Jeremy. And if you didn't tell me otherwise, if these guys were teammates, I wouldn't believe you just by the way that they're racing.
Yeah, there's so much space to give. That's why they're able to make it happen and look clean. That 15 with an excellent liner that you mentioned, going from really far up on the top side down to the bottom. You can do that. It'll work. But the thing is, you carry so much speed to that apex that you kind of scrub off some extra tire wear. You don't want to do that every single lap. As long as you apex the corner where you need to, which is about center, maybe 2/3 of the way through the corner. If you can get to the white line, gives you a great launch off the bottom. But if you apex early or if you carry too much speed, you're going to find that outside wall in turn 2 And I'm already starting to see, Dustin, a lot of tire marbles. I don't know if you see it on your end, but these top four, anyways, I'm seeing a lot of debris kick off these cars, some excess debris on the track or the tire marbles, like I said. So something to watch out for as this track does rubber in. This is a much longer run here than that first stint. So let's see what this looks like as these teammates are all running 1, 2, 3, 4 all over the place.
Yeah, and you got, again, one of the strongest runnings right now. Ooh, man, almost looked like the 31, a little loose coming off of turn 2 there, had to check up. That's giving the 44 of Beck an excellent run on that high side. We're on board right now with Wayne Grassi as he is trying to stay on that low line, takes it from that low line up to about the third lane, drifts it all the way up towards the wall. But Jeremy, from first through seventh, I mean, you're looking at it all in a screenshot right here. I mean, these drivers are running hard and they are running close.
I think, Dustin, this is gonna be a great time to break out for the first time in 2023. We've ran this in the past; it's been a while. We're gonna bring out the turn up the tudes as we're gonna listen to all the sounds of these cars, full throttle here around Auto Club Speedway. Get back to hearing our voices chat with you guys here as they're now completing lap number 60 onto 61, and that was turn up the tude. We ran that as a different segment before, but every time we'd run it, Dustin, we'd have some issues on the field when it caused a caution just by complete coincidence. But this time, Dustin, we're 1 for 1. No caution after running that segment, so we're going to keep that name.
Yeah, it seems like whatever it was, the name might have been Bad Juju, and we decided to change it up in hopes that it was going to make it better. And I tell you what, it's a beautiful segment. You can really really get into the feel of what these drivers are doing, yeah, it's simulated, but these drivers are giving it everything. And I mean, they're putting it out there on the line. So just to see what these drivers are doing and slinging it around this simulated version of Auto Club Speedway, it's an amazing thing. As we got a
Oh,
caution out on the track, Jeremy.
second caution this evening from a green flag situation presented by Roasted Gems Coffee. Third caution overall, including the stage break. Again, we're going to try to find that incident for you. I did not see it initially on our end here. Let's see if we can find something for you on the track. What are you finding out there, Dustin?
Trying to find it, but I'm not seeing exactly where it came about, Jeremy. Unless you got eyes on it where I don't.
No, actually, yep. Turn 4 on lap 61 is going to be Brian Dublé, the 37. Steve Loomis, the 17, coming off that corner. 17 just did not give any room. Pounds him and the 37 into the wall. One spins, 37 shoots down the grass. Mows the grass in the front stretch in that two-car incident. It's going to bring out the third caution this evening.
That's an unfortunate event. It looks like, yeah, there might have been just a little bit of feed issue on that. I don't know if we're actually going to be able to get that all the way. Almost looks like that, again, in the technical world, when it comes to connectivity and latency and everything else, sometimes some of the stuff just is not picked up on it. And this one might be one of those, yep, as those cars blink out, Jeremy. So, unfortunately, not able to get a hold of that one tonight, but as you explained it, we know exactly how it happened.
Yeah, so basically the 17 just shot up from the bottom of the track, came up top into the 37, who did nothing wrong, just kind of ran the upper half of the track and got pounded. Door slapped essentially, and then actually when the 17 was spinning on the top half of the track, Alan Crowell in the 41 tried squeezing the gap and did not fit there, so then the 41 had some decent nose contact with the 17, as the 37 only kind of just drove through the grass after the initial contact. So probably going to be multiple minutes of damage for each of these three cars involved in this third caution here. You hate to see it, but this is about halfway through, Dustin. 62 out of 125, right at the halfway mark. So we'll see what kind of strategy plays out. The Motorsports elected not to pit during that caution last time. Able to hold the front, surprisingly. So we'll see what kind of strategy they have this time around.
Yeah, and this works out in their favor. I mean, that caution coming out when it did, Jeremy, that puts everybody on the same pit strategy. Everybody's on the same cycle. Everybody's good to go. So them staying out put them in a good position with where they're at. And as it sits right now, it's looking like the 15 of Nicholas Moreau is still going to hold that top spot. And that 5 of Fred Moreau looks like he's going to be in second place right behind him. And then you're going to see the 31 of Chandler. Jeff Chandler is going to be breaking up that Moreau Motorsports 1-2-3 tandem, as it's going to end up pushing Vachon in that 26 back to fourth. So again, it's kind of a little shake up here, Jeremy, but we see the 44 of Beck is up in the top 5. You see Josh Johnson right now in that 57 is running solidly in the top 10, running in 7th place. Torgerson right now, Chandler's teammate, also in the top 10 and 8th. And you see the 47 of Hedrick, since he cracked the top 10 through that pit strategy and the race break that we had there as well, is finding himself in 9th place, and Grassi in the 10th place. So again, a lot of moving, a lot of shaking here, but a lot of the big players that were up there prior to that caution coming out, Jeremy, are still up there, but now they all have fresh tires.
And that was your Nerd TV top 10 recap, as we got about 3/4 of a lap before these guys go back to green flag action. Keep your eye out on the 47 and the 7. Right after we kicked off the turn up the tude part, the 7 and the 47 had some contact. They kind of had to settle it out on the track, and they kept going straight, and there wasn't much damage, but they had a pretty big door slap, and some words were exchanged, and I think it's all good now. But in the moment, they're like, wait, there's 5 lanes of racing here, and you found myself, into the corner. Not as bad as the 17 and the 37, obviously, because they're still running perfectly fine. But might be something to look for as far as any type of drama on this restart. We're going to kick it back over to Nicholas Moreau, who is now going to lead this restart. It's third time out of the 4 starts complete from the drop of the green flag tonight. He's going to lead the field. But Fred Moreau's teammate, P2 Dustin, how much time does it take the 5 to take over the top spot?
I feel right now he has got that desired lane, that preferred lane right now. I think he leads this first lap after they take the green flag, which green flag is out right now. But I'm saying it's going to be this time, Jeremy.
See here as they get up to speed, they can almost go full throttle on turn 1 and 2, and then of course you can't do that in 3. But the 15 really checks out the bottom, and I think you are correct. The 5 with an amazing amount of speed on lane 3 here, coming off corner exit. Can he clear? He's really close. It looks like he will, but the 15 doesn't want to go behind as he drives it back into turn 3, completely side by side now with his teammate. But the 15 just pushes up a little much there. Oh, and the 5 does too, actually, and he slams the outside wall with his teammate.
Stacks it.
26 on the 97. I know the 26 hit the wall. I'm not sure if the 97 did, but this is going to stack up the front half of the field.
5 wide.
15 to take it.
Whew. Oh, my goodness, Jeremy. Sorry, I did not mean to interrupt you on that one, but my goodness, what a heads up by all the drivers back behind the 5 of Fred Moreau when he was pushing it. If it wouldn't have been for that wall tag, he would have led that lap, but just stacked everybody up and everybody stayed out of trouble there. 5 wide at one point in time. Fantastic job by these drivers.
Yeah, excellent job. And these guys are still fanned out their whole lap here. Just so much action going on the track. Top, bottom, middle. They're not giving it up. They're trying to get everything they can before we settle this thing down. But excellent racing here by every single one of these drivers out now.
Yeah, and it looked like there was a little contact between the 44 of Beck and the 7 of Grassi. It looked like the 44 got just a little loose coming off the corner and kind of slid down a little bit and door checked the passenger side of the 7 of Grassi. Both drivers seemed like they were unscathed, kept going straight. So, again, another close call. But I tell you what, these drivers are laying it out there, Jeremy.
Wayne Grassi probably like, why me? Why am I getting some of these close calls? It's a little more contact there, it looked like, off corner exit. Nope, wasn't contact. It was just a little. I saw some tire smoke, I guess.
It was the 44 of Beck. Yeah, the 44 of Beck got loose, just like he did the lap prior, which is what caused the contact between him and Grassi. And that's where you saw the tire smoke, but then Wayne Grassi tagged the wall coming off of turn 4 as well. So a lot of action going around, and turn 4 wall is getting its usage right now, Jeremy.
Yeah, that thing's been used up now. I think about 5 cars have hit that thing plus. And then you see the 44 with some handling issues now halfway through this race. So this has turned out to be the key part of the track here to make sure you keep your car clean as more people just get so close to the outside wall. It's you still got 60 laps in this race. You can't do this early, but I know you're trying to set yourself up for a good position here later on this run. But you can't use up the door panel either.
Yeah, well, and I agree 110%, Jeremy. You can't use up the door panel like that. But, these cars almost seem like they are completely different cars prior to them hitting pit road. So many cars are loose coming off of the apex of 3 and 4 and off of 4. That's where you're seeing a lot of that tire smoke. And right there, you just seen the 57 of Josh Johnson got loose there as well. So you're seeing a lot of handling issues with these cars, Jeremy, especially through 3 and 4.
What I'm thinking is a combination of, you got to get yourself in a better position on the track. And a lot of these guys look pretty tight overall in that first run. So they're like, you know what, we have more of an edge to give out, so they put themselves on that teetering edge of being tight and loose. And you're seeing it here early on. The tire pressure should be built up at this time, but we're still seeing a couple cars, a couple extra tight, couple extra loose. So for us, it's presenting some awesome racing. We're seeing more 3 wide here coming off of turn 4 with the 57, the 39, Troy Torgerson, as they kind of fan out and go single file for the most part there. But man, what an excellent first 5 laps to that restart.
Yeah, and what you're seeing right now, Jeremy, is a lot of these drivers going down the straights now have elected to, you know what, let's not go side by side so much. Let's let these pressures kind of build up. You see a lot more single file. You get a couple, 3, 4 of them that are hanging out down there. The 67 of James Wallace, 57 of Josh Johnson, teammates. You see Richie Coy looking to push it 3 wide, but the corner is typical for these drivers to fan out because that's how they're going to get that rotation. But it looks like down the straights with all the close calls that these drivers have had, Jeremy, it looks like they're maybe kind of playing it a little cool now for a few laps.
Unless you're talking about the 26 and the 97. The 97, Jonathan Vachon almost hit the outside wall of 4. The 26 actually made contact with it again. That's twice now in the 5 laps. The 26 has made the outside wall. Not its best friend. Not really slowing up the speed, though, as that team is still 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we see Jeff Chandler still holding on strong, currently in 5th. Hopefully he's got his long run figured out. He's going to need it. I'm glad to see the 44. He's back up and being consistent. He's running 8th place now. He started in 5th, so he's running a little behind speed there. But as I say that, we see a couple people pass him, actually, so he dropped back to 10th. Ryan Hendrick moves up back to 8th. Joshua Johnson, currently P9.
Yeah, moving and shaking all over the place right now in this gaggle of cars as they go through the corner right now, coming off of turn 2. Right now up front, though, like you said, it's the battle of the Moreaus. Both Nicholas and Fred, they're duking it out for that top spot, and it's the battle of the Vachons as they're both duking it out for that 3rd spot right now. So, again, Moreau Motorsports having its own internal power struggle right now up in the top 4 spots. Like you said, though, Jeremy, Chandler holding on strong. He's been up there in that top 5 all race long. Fell outside of it just a couple times, but for the most part has been up there all race. And then, like I said, this gaggle of cars back here led by the 7 of Grossi right now. You got Grossi, Hedrick, Torgerson, Johnson, Coy rounding out your top 10 right now as it looks like Johnson gets a little loose again off turn 2.
It looks like there's also a little bit of an internal family battle going on as you see Moreau's on the bottom, the farthest lane down, and then you see the Vachons running the 3rd lane up, even 4th lanes in some instance. So, you know, they're on the same team. Looks like their own little family team is kind of showing its face a little bit here. Taking up a good part of the track. Heading up into turn number 1, we're going to see it once again. The 4th lane's being used by the 26 and 97. The bottom lane by the 15 and the 5. And we're on board the 31 going, well, this team's taking up the track. What do I do now?
Yeah, in a situation like this, what do you do? I mean, you have your teammate with Torgerson in the 39 is 3 cars behind you. But you can see that these 4 drivers right now, pretty much 2 mini packs, they're pretty much taking up the whole track, Jeremy. So in a situation like this here, as a driver, what do you do?
Well, this is why currently I'm sitting in the booth with you. You just gotta figure things out as the time goes, I guess. And I'm definitely not as fast as some of these guys out here, so we're gonna let them figure it out. I think this is a great time to kick over to do a picture-in-picture commercial break. We'll be back with you guys after we thank a few of our sponsors. Welcome back once again to full screen coverage for the Full Throttle Sim Racing race here at Auto Club Speedway. And coming back from the commercial break, I am completely realizing that teamwork and team strategy and how they make the setups are super important here. To see the 24 Stephen Llewellyn getting really loose through turn 4. It's the first time in a while we've seen someone loose on a long run here at Auto Club. But you still have Murrow Motorsports 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you have Jeff Chandler Racing, 5th and 6th. And then behind them, the next 3 of the 4 spots are occupied by another team with Joshua Johnson, James Wallace, and Ryan Hedrick. Completely drawing a name blank on their team at the moment. I'm going to quickly look that up just so I
Boomerang.
can get that correct. Boomerang, thank you. I knew it was in the B's.
I
So these
got
guys,
you, boo boo.
appreciate you, man. You always do. Teamwork, clearly something that's been showing its face here with the setup. So, not a surprise. Got a couple guys like the 7 and the 24 trying to mix it up as solo team drivers. But right now, that powerhouse belongs to the team that's done a lot of practice here.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of people, they come to Auto Club and they don't think of it as a team track, but I mean, you do. You guys put in so many hours and so many laps, and with teams utilizing very similar, if not identical setups that, I mean, it's you do. You look for your teammates. Like you said, you drive this track at times like what you would at Daytona or Talladega. Draft is a very real thing here, and it can make or break it. I mean, look at the Moreau Motorsports right now. You cannot fit half a car length in between the 15 and the 5 of both Nicholas and Fred, respectively. And the same thing goes for Jonathan and Matthew Vachon right now in the 97 and the 26. So, I mean, like you said, teamwork is making it big right now, and it's showing it here at Auto Club.
Yeah, looking at the 31 and 5th place, the leader for Jeff Chandler Racing, he's kept up with this top 4. If you remember before stage 1 was over, it's one of those cars that fell back late into the run. Right now we're about, 20 laps into this thing, and he is not letting go. He is still on the tail of the Vachon brothers, doing it right now. Strong over his teammate, really, who Troy Torgerson is almost 2 seconds back of him. So I think if those two guys can get together, by virtue of another caution or if 39 finds some excess speed, this might be a team to watch out for to try to compete with Murrow Motorsports. And also another mention, Richie Coy coming off of stage 1. He was starting back in 26. He's found himself now inside the top 10.
Yeah, he's finding himself right now in this gaggle of drivers being led by the 67 of James Wallace and his teammate Josh Johnson. And then right behind him, he's got Stephen Llewellyn. And the other Boomerang teammate of Ryan Hedrick is back there as well. So, again, I mean, a little bit of a slide up by the 24 of Stephen Llewellyn. Door checks the 57, so a little bit of a handling issue here. No, folks, if you're watching, that is not intentional or anything else. That's just how hard these drivers have been going. These cars are starting to wear down. We are working lap 87 of scheduled 125 distance. These drivers have been out here. They've been putting down some laps and some blistering times. So even running back here towards the top 10, top 15, by no means is that a bad thing. Like I said, that's just the caliber of racing that goes on here at Full Throttle Sim Racing.
I'd be careful, too, if I was at 24. He's surrounded by 3 of those Boomerang drivers, the 47, 57, and right in front of him, the 67. So I don't know if you want to mess up that. We have our 4th caution this evening presented by Roasted Gems Coffee. As once again, we're going to try to cycle through and try to find that caution for you and see if the camera can pick it up this time. Let's see, a couple cars slow. Is that Richie Coy there entering pit road, Dustin?
That was Alan Crowell entering pit road, and it looks like it was Crowell that brought out that caution right now. We're going to see if we can't get a little bit of a better angle on that, Jeremy. But it does look like that was some of the issue that took place there.
Yeah, I'm looking back at it, and the 41 saw it on my screen all the way up until the time to where I don't know if there was contact. I didn't see anybody around him. He was going straight down the backstretch, Dustin, no problem. His car disappears for like a second, and all of a sudden he's driving through deep into the grass in turn 3. So I, I don't know. It didn't look like there was any cars around him, and he just straight shot to the grass
Yeah, and
and
that's what we're
spun
seeing right
out.
now is, I mean, it doesn't, his car's not showing up, and then next thing you know, it shows up and he's spinning down the track onto the apron. So, doesn't look like there was any cars around him from our angles. But like I said, the feed had cut out on that one, a little bit of a latency issue on that, and it looks like it's on both of our ends on this one. Or if it was just handling issue, we've seen a lot of cars getting loose, Jeremy, a lot of them getting loose. This one could have been a product of that as well. So it's hard telling.
And the weird part too with the 41 is he saved it. He collected it. He came off the grass. He was going straight. He had it under him, and then he put his car back into the grass and it kicked it in front of the other cars through 3 and 4, which brought out the caution. So maybe just something broke in that machine to where he couldn't hang on to it once he got it going straight. But either way, it did bring out the caution for the 4th time. Seen everybody coming down pit road to use another set of tires. It's going to leave some of these teams. It's 4 cautions, Dustin. Some of these teams, if they've taken tires almost every single time, they only have a set or 2 left, and we still have 40 laps left.
Yeah, this is where the strategy comes into play. And this is where that strategy that we see Moreau Motorsports use earlier, maybe that came into play because when they everybody else came in, they stayed out on that one and ran it out to the end of the stage and then came into pit. So, that might have been the best call. That could have saved them a set of tires, Jeremy.
And we've seen this before to where they make that into their advantage. If there is a race, like a short track in particular, that brings out a little more cautions than usual. But on your screen right now, you're seeing the 23. That's Mr. Brody Hanna, last week's race winner. He won, Dustin. And actually, does he come down pit road?
I'm
He
thinking
does.
he was
He
just
took
out
that
there to
lead
get
lap.
that. Yep, just to get those points.
He did. So I was going to be really surprised if he didn't come down for a set of tires. And does he even make it as the leader? As these guys are crossing the line now,
No,
he does not. He does not
no.
get the point. So he tried it, and now he's lost some spots. So he crosses the line in 4th. So this did not play out in his favor.
Unless he led the last lap prior to all of them, because then he would have been in the position where he was passing everybody as they were going down pit road,
He
which
did
is a
not,
poss.
at least on my scoreboard, he was not showing P1. He was actually showing back in like 15th, if that holds correct.
Yeah, it's it all depends on where those timing loops are at. But like I said, Jeremy, that right there is a prime example of how these drivers drive. They are points racing all the time. Any place that they can try to get a point here, a point there, enough to try to put them over the edge for, for the season A or season B championship or the overall championship. These drivers are doing it. If you think that they're not points racing the entire time they're doing this, you're sorely mistaken.
Yeah, you're correct. And there is 13 races in 2023 season A, typical of FTSR. Very strict to the actual NASCAR schedule. If they're doing it in real life, these guys are doing it here. So, and they kind of split the season up into 3 groups. So this is Group A, and yeah, only 13 races. You're trying to get everything you can early on, because if you have one bad race, you don't have too many opportunities to make up for that. But we're going to see the pace car dip here. Nicholas Moreau is going to lead the field to the green flag for the 4th time out of 5 complete starts. Green flag is flying. The 31, he had his dancing partner there from lap 1, Mr. Jeff Chandler. Glad to see him back up in 2nd place. Let's see what he can do now with a fresh set of Goodyear tires as Nicholas Moreau is being pushed by his teammate Fred Moreau into 1.
Yeah, but Jeff Chandler is being pushed by his teammate Torgerson in the 39. So, again, now you got 2 teams as right now. Oh, big swap up there as you see the 31 of Chandler go from the high side down to the low side. Puts a nose on the inside of the 15 of Moreau right now. Sails it off into turn 1. Jeremy, if he can hold it, he may have him cleared. But it looks like the 15 of Moreau may be battling back. He's got that run on that high side. Ooh, wall contact, though.
Wall contact. The 31 had to check up huge because he had carried so much speed into turn 3. Does not lead the lap that time. But his teammate Troy Torgerson's going to take that second spot now. This is the highest running spot that 39 has run all race long. And now he's going to take a stab at the 15 to see if he can get his team into P1.
Yeah, like I said, a lot of bold moves. I mean, just full sending that into turns 1, turn 3. You've seen what happened with Nicholas Moreau, but it doesn't look like it's slowing him down at all. A little bit of a wall scrape, just scrape off some of that paint layer. And it's all right. It makes it a little bit more aerodynamic. But like you said, the 39 right now, has to drift it way high. Loses a lot of speed there, Jeremy. Cut it real close to that wall, but still holding that P2 position behind the 15 of Nicholas Moreau. You got Jonathan Vachon in third place right now, putting pressure on the outside of the 39 as he's going to try to run that third lane there, possibly drift into that fourth. There's that drift. Now puts himself right behind his teammate, the 15 of Nicholas Moreau.
39 tried running the bottom, and that's not going to work for him as his teammate, the 97, Jonathan Vachon's going to take over second place momentarily. See Stephen Llewellyn to the very top as we're 3 wide here with the 47, the 5, and the 24 as they come off a turn number 4. Then that was the 31, not the 47. I apologize. But yeah, that's going to kick back the 39 temporarily into third place here. Stephen Llewellyn with a great run off of 4. Going to try the top side to see if he can take it over the 39 here. He's just carrying a little bit more speed in this short run, Dustin.
Yeah, 3 wide. Ooh, contact right there between the 5 of Fred Moreau and the 31 of Chandler. Looks like Fred Moreau got tight coming off the corner. Hard door check right now to the driver's side of that 31. Doesn't look like it interferes with either of those drivers right now. But you know that's got to raise frustrations on that, especially as we are working lap 95 of 125, Jeremy. So as it sits right now, we got 30 laps left. These drivers are really starting to hang it out there.
Yeah, we're about an hour and 20 minutes into this race. You've worked so hard to get yourself into the top 5, and then someone else's mistake slams you in the door panel, and you kind of, your tempers, you have to keep those in check sometimes. And these cars are carbon composite, so they can take a beating and be fine. You just got to worry about the internals, not so much the body work. Beating and banging with the doors in these cars, not a problem. We've seen it time in and time out. It doesn't really affect it. It's when you hit the wall, though, when there's a lot less forgiveness. That's when you start coming up with some problems, and we've seen quite a few people hit the wall. I think we just heard another car do that. Like Fred Moreau, he did it, around lap 60, and he's still running, inside the top 5 here. So doesn't affect these cars too much as long as the internals stay together.
Yeah, and that's the trick, is getting the internals to stay together. We know that these the front tires have a tendency to detach and go on that tether. And I mean, you know as well as I, that's like an 8-minute fix in the pits. I mean, that can just destroy a race. And with the way that some of these drivers have hit the wall a couple times, I would be worrying about that. As these drivers, Jeremy, are still duking it out. You see the 39 of Torgerson on the inside of the 24 of Stephen Llewellyn. He does take over that 4th position. Richie Coy there, you see the highest running Fury Motorsport driver running in the 6th position on the inside of Fred Moreau, trying to take that as they are duking it out, swapping that 6th position back and forth.
Yes, the highest Richie Coy has been for the most part of this race, essentially since the start of the race, really. Currently in P6. Troy Torgerson trying to make the best with his teammate, the 31 and the 39. They are teammates. They are currently sitting in 3rd and 4th on the board this time, but the 24 is trying to split them off of turn 4. Not going to happen. Looks like the 39 gets a great launch off of 4 on the bottom half of the track, which not many cars, Dustin, are having that good speed on corner exit on the bottom half of the track. Starting to see the tire wear, the tire buildup rather on the bottom, and the top's just kind of taking precedence here so far through the first 100 laps.
Yeah, and right now you're seeing an excellent battle between Llewellyn and Torgerson right now for that 4th position. Llewellyn trying to take it, Torgerson not wanting to give it up. Right now, you see Fred Moreau work his way in there. Richie Coy thought about it for a split second and thought better of it. Said, "No, I'm going to back out on this one here. We're going to do it." It looks like Llewellyn may have tagged the wall again, Jeremy. That's at least twice that 24 machine has tagged that wall coming off of 4.
He got so close. I don't think, at least on my camera angle, that he hit it. I'm going to take another look at it. No, he got probably 6 inches, not even away from that wall. Did not make contact, though. So thankfully for him, but it definitely checked him up a little bit. Now the 39 is back to the inside, trying to make that pass happen once again. Really strong racing here just outside the top three.
Yeah, and again, with all this racing, we're forgetting the racing that's going on. You see, Chandler right now took over that second spot. What happened to the 97 of Vachon? He just dropped like a light all the way down. He was running up there in second place, Jeremy, and he fell all the way down running P16 at this point in time. That gives the second place title right now as it runs to the 31 of Jeff Chandler as Jonathan Vachon tries to work his way back up now from P15.
Yeah, went back and took a look after you did mention that he did drop quite a bit, and he was running P2. He comes off of turn 2 and his car disappears, and it looks like he comes back hitting the outside wall of turn 2. And when he went through turn 3 and 4, he just had very little speed. So something, with the car damage-wise, it kind of slowed him up a little bit. So it did drop him back. So he's currently coming to the line now. You see he resides, it looks like 15th. So kind of stationary at the moment. But yeah, that's huge. He lost 3.5 seconds, being in second place to now being a 15th. I don't think there's enough time to come back unless there's a caution, but it allows Jeff Chandler at 31. You see him now to kick it back over to the race lead. One car length separates the 31 and the 15.
Yeah, it's amazing how one thing can just completely change and alter how this is going right now as we are watching this here. Just the latency issue that we had. And that's what it was when a car disappears like that. So I mean, there's issues going around all over the place, and that right now cost a solid second place running for Jonathan Vachon. But look at the door it opened up right now for the 31 of Jeff Chandler's. He is all over the rear bumper of the 15 of Nicholas Moreau. Jeremy, this is heating up, and it's heating up fast.
15 actually looks a little tight right now, especially off of turn 2. The 31 got to his back bumper so close on exit. And you see him right now coming through 3 and 4. The 31 just can't leave his bumper. He knows that's the speed. That's why he's up there at the top running the 15. I think if he tries the bottom of 1 and 2 here, so we got a little bit of 4-wide action, roughly for the 10th place here, with the 57, the 11, the 19, and the 52. Kind of mixed up there a little bit as there's still 3 wide exiting turn 2 now. Looks like it's going to stay 3 wide here going down the back straight. Really awesome little section of racing going on here on lap 104. 57, great run, able to pass temporarily both the 52 and the 11. And it's going to succeed all the way through 3 and 4 as they figure that out. Kicking back over to that race lead. That 31 just needs to find a little extra something. He needs to dive bomb 1, do the slide job. If he wants to make it happen, or if he thinks maybe he set himself up during these last couple cautions for a long run attempt, maybe he's just going to wait it out until about, next 5 laps to go or whatnot.
Yeah, he's not going to want to wait too long because right now I see that green and white and black number 5 machine of Fred Moreau just passed his teammate of Torgerson right now. Fred Moreau up to 3rd, and he's coming fast, Jeremy. So if Chandler's going to make a move, I know we got it's going to be 20 to go this time by. He's not going to want to wait around because the racing's going to get pretty hard and heavy. But on the flip side, Jeremy, that could help him out quite a bit. With that is if Fred gets up there and starts racing the 15, I mean, that could heat their tires up, could wear their stuff out. So, I mean, the 31's got a decision to make right here on how he's going to attack this.
Yeah, we saw him lose a little bit of ground in the last lap or so. Yeah, got it back a little bit there off exit of 2 this time. See if he can kind of regroup and find something a little different as he's now running a lane lower. But we're on board, or at least camera action on the 47 and the 24 is there side by side. This is for 5th place. Right now, looks like the 24, Stephen Llewellyn's going to hold 5th place over the 47 Hendrick. Hendrick is having a pretty good run, Dustin. I already mentioned it once earlier. He had a strong early 2022. Middle of the year to late year kind of fell off. And then toward the end of the last season last year, he seemed like he had a little bit of spunk back in him, and he was able to run some decent performances in that last season. And right now, starting off the 2023 season A, 6th place right now. That's some decent hopes there for that 47 Boomerang Motorsports machine.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, he started 2022 off so well, and he just hit that spell of just bad luck at tracks, and it was right around those short tracks and the dirt track. Things just kind of went south. It took him a little time to rebound back up, but he started getting some wind in his sails, so to speak.
Oh.
And he's running good right now, fighting Stephen Lou Allen for fifth.
Speaking of fighting, the 31 did try to make that slide job happen on the 15, able to make the pass, and then he hit the exit of turn 2. The wall hit him a little bit. 15 shot by him. Nature, and because you hit the wall and you slow down. So the 31 had the pass completed, was just a little too strong on exit, as we're going to see at least the after hit there. It's going to allow the 15 to zoom by the 31. Clears him once again.
Let's go
But the
back a little
31,
further.
yeah, if we can go back a little further to see it coming through turn 1 this time. He has it right there. Whole car length right there. Got the nose and just slides up. As you're going to see it slide up. You already see it there. Big slide, big slide, big slide.
Ooh.
Hits the wall. 15 passes him.
I mean, it's just a kiss too, Jeremy. Just a kiss, but it was just enough to kill all that momentum that he was carrying.
And then the 15 as well, tried to make that same pass, just didn't carry enough speed, slowed him up, and now the 5 of Fred Monroe does make the pass, so it drops the 31 to third. And that late run there of the 5 Fred Monroe, don't count him out. He's now in piece 2, right on the back bumper, the 15, and he gets a little loose off of 2.
Now, how many times have we seen the 15 and the 5 duke it out, though, Jeremy, in 2022? Since Fred joined Moreau Motorsports and came on the scene, he ran a limited schedule in 2022. But the races that he did catch, Jeremy, I mean, he made a profound impact and always raced. Even in times like this here, you see him racing side by side with his team owner, Nicholas Moreau, as they're duking it out. And this could be exactly what Jeff Chandler Racing needs right now. Let these two wear their stuff down, kind of save and conserve. We got 15 laps to go. You might be able to be there to strike it and get Jeff Chandler Racing a 1-2.
I'd love to give a quick shout out to one of our partners here at iRacing. iFlag is your iRacing standard for open sourced race marshaling light board system. It basically shows you up to 30 different iRacing notifications and a little 64 LED diode box. So if there's a car high, car low, if you're on the road circuit and you got a car coming up to you at a faster speed that's in a different class, it'll notify you. It'll let you know that they're there. It allows you to keep all the focus on the track on your monitor because you don't have to look around to see who's around you with your F2 and F3 boxes. This thing has you covered. And so if you're looking to complete your sim rig, head over to iRacingIFlag.com. Use that promo code SUPERNERD. It's going to save you 15% off anything you purchase from iRacing iFlag. And also, Dustin, these guys put back 70% of what they profit back into the sim racing community through sponsorships and promotions and whatnot. So it's a great product and it gives back. So it's a win-win all the way around. I recommend this thing.
110%, as we see some racing action going on right now. Jeremy, as you were doing that fantastic plug, by the way, you did an amazing job on it. I've been watching the racing right now from 5th place. Matthew was shown all the way back to 13th with Wayne Grossi. This racing, and even Tony Solari in 14th. This racing has been all over the place. We've seen the 19 and the 97 kind of get into each other there a little bit. Stephen Lou Allen was in the picture there. This racing here is where the action is at right now, Jeremy, as they are 2 and 3 wide.
24 still trying to fall back here. Almost hit the wall off exit. Kind of scattering these things up a little bit. But yeah, it's been some pretty solid racing back here as well. We like to keep in tone with the leaders because they're so close, all 4 of them really. But there is racing all around the track, and it's all really good. Especially this group of cars just battling for the top 10, which it shows up on your stat board at the end of the day. So to get that top 10 for your team, it's it just kind of shows how well the team's performing, and they're all trying to get there. That's why we're seeing this little bit of extra excitement here right around 10th place or so. But right now they temporarily go all single file for the most part, except for the 7, trying to make some speed on the bottom. Does clear the 11. 47 clears the 24 with a little door contact, but no one spun out. No one actually got loose or anything. No, 24 actually made a quick cut to the bottom. trying to get around the 57, entering 1.
Man, these cuts. I'm up here tensing up on some of these cuts. They're I mean, they are leaving very little room for error there. Is right now you're seeing the 24, Stephen Lou Allen, who was the driver that just made that cut down in front of the 47 of Hedrick after those two had made door contact. So the abruptness of that cut down might have been a little bit of a statement, could have been. But these drivers, Jeremy, they're just I mean, they're just letting it all hang out. And as this is going on right now, your top four, again, you can throw a blanket under your top four right now, being led by Nicholas Moreau, Fred Moreau in second, going to that, it looks like he's going to that fourth lane right now. And then you have Torgerson, who's taken over the third spots in that second lane. And then you have Chandler, who's in that fourth lane, just like Fred was running. So 10 laps to go, Jeremy. It's starting to get down to make or break time.
Yeah, 10 laps to go, and what I've noticed is that 31, remember that first long green flag stint we had? We saw the 31 kind of fade away, and I think that's what we're seeing here is the 31 start to do that once again. I know he's had a little more contact than what he did the first time, just with the wall and, situations around him. So we saw him drop a couple tenths that lap there. So really the top three now are the ones that are underneath that blanket. Troy Torgerson leading the way for Jeff Chandler Racing, trying to split up this Moreau Motorsports Group 1 and 2. I think he's got a strong car. He's a little bit faster than the 5 off of 2. He's going to maybe dip below him. Nope, he's going to stay behind him. I think that 39, if he can pass the 5, might have a decent shot at this win.
Yeah, and he very well could have a good shot there. Again, he's just got to time that pass right as he gets a little loose coming off of 4 there, Jeremy. So you can definitely tell that the wear on these cars is really starting to take effect. But you can tell that they're not letting up. They are pushing these cars hard. But going back to that 5th place right now, the 97 leading this second pack here of the 97 of Jonathan Vachon. And these drivers, Jeremy, are all over. You got Jonathan and Matthew Vachon right now, followed by Richie Coy. And then you have the 3 Boomerang racing teammates of Wallace, Johnson, and Hedrick, all nose to tail as well. So, Jeremy, a lot of racing action going back in this second pack as well, like you said, battling for that top 10.
And an excellent battle here. You can see them all single filed on the straightaway, then they just completely fan out to wherever they're most comfortable through the corners. We're in right now single file right here. As they go into turn 1, you'll see them once again just kind of go wherever they're most comfortable, which can't say it enough about this track and how awesome this place is. 97, 26, they run up top. Richie Coy trying to make some gains on the bottom. 67, run in the middle of the track. And as they come up on corner exit, all but Richie Coy is going to be single file. As Richie gets to the side of the 26, just can't hold that speed, Dustin. Has to fall back in line once again.
Yeah, so as the racing's going on here, Jeremy, like you said, I mean, it's wherever you're comfortable at in the corner. I mean, these drivers fan out, but you see for the most part, they all get back in line. Richie Coy still trying to make something happen. He's got a nose on the inside of the 26. I just don't know if he can make anything happen down there. His run just gets cut short, but I mean, you got to give him that star for effort. I mean, he's trying right now as you see the 26 of Matthew Vachon running up in that 4th and 5th lane up there. Just gets that killer run coming off the corner, Jeremy, as we got 6 laps to go.
Yeah, you can't do anything. You can try to run the 4th lane and get some side draft off the car. These cars kind of like side draft more on the right side than the left. There, see the 67, James Wallace get up to that door panel, the 19, which is going to, the 26 hits the wall again. Don't know if it's going to slow him up too much. Doesn't look like it, but yeah, the 67's going to get that door closed by the 19, as that's such a close cut there by Richie Coy. Thankfully didn't turn himself there, but now he's got the top side of this 97. What can he do up there in the 4th groove?
Yeah, you see the 26 of Matthew Vachon right now took over that 5th position from his teammate Jonathan. The 19 of Richie Coy was going to try to follow suit in there, try to get in there, but just didn't work. Hard dive down to the 1st lane does the 19 of Richie Coy, but I have a feeling that another wall scrape there, it's going to slow him up a little bit. The 97 of Jonathan Vachon gives a little bit of a bump to try to get him up to speed, but that puts the 97 and the 19 door to door as they cross the start-finish line off into turn 1, Jeremy. That's at least twice now since we've been watching this pack over the last few laps that we've seen the 26 tag that wall.
And as you're watching this new second place
Oh,
car, Troy Torgerson. I didn't see what you saw there. I'm kind of paying attention to the second place. Troy Torgerson does take over Fred Moreau, and he also gained a 10th too on your race leader. So as that mid-pack action there is really starting or continuing to keep that flame going. Second place, this car's fast. He did clear the 5, and I think this time, yeah, he gained another 2 tenths on your race leader. So coming up to, or well, 3 laps to go now, we got a race going for P1.
yeah, we do. And what I was saying, about while you were watching the racing up front was the 97 of Jonathan Vachon. Hard hit in the wall, just like his teammate Matthew Vachon a couple laps earlier. But yeah, the 39 definitely looks like he's got a good car right now, Jeremy. The only thing that's going to slow him down, and you see it on your screen right now, is going to be that 5 of Fred Moreau. But man, big drift up there, close call. But you see the distance and the gap that it puts between the 39 and the 15. We got 2 laps to go, Jeremy, to duke this out. Not much time does Torgerson have to work with, but it's definitely doable.
Technically faster by just a mere couple thousandths of a second over the 15 this time, but now the 5 is out of the picture completely as he overdrove turn 3 into 4. 15 watching the 39 get a little closer as that 39 gets a great launch off of turn 2. Now about a 10th off the race lead. He's going to enter a little bit wider in that corner, cut it down just a little bit. The 15 is going to slide up the track. 39 doesn't really do that much. I think it's going to help that straightaway speed. They're about a 10th and a half coming up to the white flag here at Auto Club, the last lap. Will the 15 hold them off? It is tough to do that here. Do you mimic the line? Do you just run what you've been doing? The 39 goes up to lane 4. Really good speed off a turn or into turn 1, coming off into turn 2. Just can't carry the speed like the 15 can on exit. He gains a little bit of draft. I think the 39 is going to have to keep his lane up there at the top, which he does coming into turn 3 for the final time. The 15 runs a solid turn 3, and I don't think it's going to be enough as they come to turn 4. 15 keeps it off the wall, and your race winner, first race not restricted plate, Martin Sports, winning moment, goes to the 15 of Nicholas Moreau.
What a race, though, by the 39 of Torgerson. He was doing everything he could, just could not carry that speed off the corner, Jeremy. But I mean, I tell you what, excellent run by that man behind the wheel. And I tell you what, I mean, the racing back there, Matthew Vachon does end up getting that last top 5 position, but Richie Coy was able to split up the Vachons after the 97 of Jonathan tagged the wall, putting Jonathan back to 7th. But again, you looking at it, you have Ryan Hedrick and Josh Johnson, 2 of the Boomerang Racing drivers, do finish in the top 10, and Wayne Grassi rounds out that top 10. So again, fantastic driving by everybody. Jeremy, we've seen a little bit of everything in here. A little bit of strategy, a little bit of a little bit of bumping, a little bit of banging, a little bit of wall scraping. I think we about covered all bases.
Yeah, no, just about. We didn't see any major pileup that they did on Sunday during a restart, but outside of that, we saw everything else in the recipe there for an awesome race, as the 15 does burn it down for the first time this season, and probably many more to come from Moreau Motorsports. As he's burning it down, we're going to go over your finishing results here. Nicholas Moreau P1, Troy Torgerson 2nd place, Fred Moreau in 3rd, Jeff Chandler 4th, Matthew Vachon in 5th, Richie Coy 6th, Jonathan Vachon in 7th, Ryan Hedrick 8th, Joshua Johnson 9th. Round out tonight's top 10. Wayne Grassi, who do you got 11 through 20?
Josh Mayu brings it home in 11th. James Wallace in 12th. Stephen Lou Allen brings it home in 13th after trying to knock down the wall a couple of times. Still manages a solid top 15. Tony Solari in 14th. And Casey McMullen finishes in 15th. 16th is going to be credited to Sherwood Williford. Matt Knight rounds out 17th. Stephen Allen in 18th. 19th, you have Ryan Chapman, and rounding out your top 20, Robert Milliken.
21st, Chris Beck. 22nd place, Brody Hanna. 23rd, Justin Diltz. 24th, you'll find Chris Curtis. 25th, Timothy Stubblefield. 26th, Brian Hoskins. 27th on back is 1 lap down or more. Brian Dublain, 27th. Alan Crowell, 28th. 29th, Steve Loomis. 30th, Brandon Elder. 31st, Ryan Hoover. 32nd, Brian Bliss, and tonight's last car in 33rd place, Mr. David Courier, who had a park after lap 2. And that's going to bring us to our final full commercial break as we get our top 3 wound up and see if we can get a word with all 3 of them. So we'll be back with you guys after a few messages. Welcome to the Martin Sports Post Race Show. We're going to be interviewing some of the drivers here that finished out tonight's Auto Club 250 for the second race of the Full Throttle Sim Racing 2023 Season A. And I think, Dustin, we have second place finisher. And I don't think Fred's ready just yet, if at all, tonight. Sometimes it's iffy to get him on here. So we're going to bring in Mr. Troy Torgerson, second place there on the Abruzzi Chevrolet Camaro. Mr. Troy, do you got a copy?
Hey guys, how you doing, man?
Doing pretty awesome up here, man. Excellent car. First showing for your team at Jeff Chandler Racing here. California put on a great performance. Second and fourth place for the team cars. How'd you guys get the job done? One in second, one in fourth.
It was just trying to come up through the field there. I kind of screwed up the qualifying run and clipped the wall coming out of 4 there and started in the back and was just trying to take it easy and started, we had that long run there, well, 30 laps or whatever, and was able to pick off some cars and then took some tires and then, man, just got ate up with those guys, got stuck behind some of those guys that didn't take tires before the caution there, the stage, and just got ate up there and was able to. I knew we had a good car and just trying to be patient and get back up to the front. I don't know if I would have got him. Nicholas was fast all night long, man. He was up front all night long. So yeah, trying to get a run off the corner there and had to feather the gas a little bit coming off the corners because it wanted to slip out from underneath me, and I gave it all I had and just not enough for him there. But who knows? I would have liked maybe some side by side racing there at the end would have been kind of cool. But congratulations to him, man. He was fast all night long.
Yeah, I was thinking myself, if you got around Fred just a few laps prior, this race could have been yours. You had such a fast car there coming up to him and able to sustain the speed of Maria Motorsports. So congratulations on second place, man. Hopefully we talk to you much more into the season as it continues on. But the floor is yours. What kind of sponsors or anyone out there that you'd like to thank this evening?
I got to thank Abruzzi Racing for bringing me in. I don't know, my button's acting up here, but yeah, Brody in the FTSR league and you guys over at Nerd for broadcasting the league for us. Just having a lot of fun, man. I was here a couple of years ago and uh, was able to come back this year and run the Cup division and try some Xfinity racing. But yeah, thanks to Jeff Chandler Racing and Brody and you guys.
Appreciate all those kind words, man. Go ahead and celebrate with the team on your awesome second place finish this evening.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Yes, sir. And that was your second place finisher, Mr. Troy Torgerson, who apparently has made some starts here, Dustin, back in 2021. Of course, we weren't here at the time, but it's good to know that we got a returning guy back in here and doing well. Now it's our time, I think, to kick in our race leader to bring him into victory lane. Quite a common appearance here for this guy, number 15, Nicholas Moreau. How you doing this evening? If we got a mic with you. As we're going to try to bring him back in maybe in just a moment. Looks like a little bit of technical difficulty issues with the microphone, but it happens. It's the, he's focused on the racing, not so much on the chats. I understand, but yeah, we we still got the confetti. You're seeing his car on camera. It's all good. He's done this enough. You know all about him. But he's got some new colors on the car, so I wanted to see if maybe he had some new plugs he wanted to throw out there. Let's try to bring him in one more time before we wrap this thing up. Nicholas Moreau, do you got a copy? It looks like we're still out on that end. So I'm just gonna say it. Hopefully he rewatches the Nerd TV replay here for tonight's broadcast. But awesome job to you, man. That team's strong. It always has been, and looks like it always will be, especially with these next gen cars, posing some awesome speed for that team overall. Dustin, recap tonight for your end. How'd you think tonight went? Mm. Yeah, no kidding. I love this place, and thankfully it's on the iRacing simulation, so we can race it for years and years and years to come. But before we close this thing out, last time to thank our sponsors once again. First and foremost, the Full Throttle Sim Racing themselves. Been doing this thing for almost 20 years, so since 2006. So if you're looking to make a new league presence, make this place the place to go to. FTSR.net, Mach-1 Performance race fabrication shop that has produced champions and winners of all sorts of racing divisions. Find them on Facebook at facebook.com/Mach-1 Performance. Sim Racing Points is that all-inclusive league points management system that allows to completely track your league stats and points with a simple upload. Visit them at simracingpoints.com. Martin Sports, top quality apparel to make you look stylish and feel comfortable. See the whole apparel lineup at martinsports.gg. iRacing iFlag. Get flat notifications fractions of a second faster without ever leaving the focus of your racing action. Visit iRacingIFlag.com for a full product line. The Butt Kicker. Get that ultimate feel of a race car with haptic response from The Butt Kicker. Visit their website at thebuttkicker.com to see a full product lineup of haptic products for your sim rig. Team Watson Racing Setups. Get quality, professionally built setups for all your asphalt oval needs. Visit them at teamwatsonracing.com for pricing and packaging. And lastly, Roasted Jim's Coffee. Premium coffee beans roasted just for you. Start your day the right way with coffee from Roasted Jim's Coffee. Visit them at roastedgems.com to get a taste. All right, Dustin, it's going to close us out here for week 2, as we're going to find these guys coming over to week 3. I think it's going to be Las Vegas kicking off Wednesday for the Truck Series presented by Martin Sports. It's a little gambling. Drivers love to do that in between. So in the meantime, you guys stay safe. Get your nerd on.